Hey, Michael, I wanted to leave you some feedback on Essay 3. As a whole, I think that this is working really well. I think that you have a clear thesis here. Your plot summary here is very clear. You briefly told me about this film a couple weeks ago. Um, and as someone who hasn't seen it, I feel like I have a good understanding of the basic plot and the basic theme of what the movie is trying to work with. And then I think that you're pivoting in here into your analysis is working pretty well. I like the points that you bring up, um, and I particularly appreciate what you're doing here, um, in that you're talking about how the film is translated for the audience. I want you to think about expanding these ideas. So I love this idea where you're talking about the use of koi and then body language. I want you to think about these as separate paragraphs and expand on them. So you say the use of koi fish allow the audience to pull themselves away from the sometimes tense dialogue. And then you talk about the use of, or how they are a symbol. What I'd like you to do here is talk about what is going on in the scene, where the koi fish come in, and how the audience is meant to react at that moment, right? So, in other words, you have a series of really good claims where you're building like an excellent point, but what's not quite there yet is the evidence. And if you did that, this would be an excellent point. I think this one is too, but I feel like it's a separate point from the image of koi fish. And this idea is great, but it feels a little underdeveloped as well. Um, so if you could pull out a specific scene where this occurs and and describe it in a little bit more depth, so in other words, bring in the evidence, this would make a really excellent body paragraph. Um, Yeah, and so you mentioned coming of age stories at the end. So it might be a good idea to expand on this idea. Because you say it's magnificent animation is a fantastic example for future coming of age stories. Um, so what do we expect out of coming of age stories? How does this specific story fit into that genre? What makes it a little bit different, especially for the English speaking audiences and their expectations for coming of age stories? And then also, what will the audience recognize, right? So that would be a nice way to expand on that, as well. So in as a whole, I think that what you have is working. It's just expanding on what you have, to get there. Um, and don't forget to include your heading here, one minor thing. But other than that, I think it's working well. Yeah, what I want you to focus on is expanding the good ideas that you have. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.